Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, dozens of influential Upper Peninsula women are being recognized in a new exhibit through NMU. Plus, the city of Negaunee looks for more funding for their ice arena with a bond proposal on the ballot this May. And a government shutdown could be just days away as a funding fight heats up in Washington. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Welcome in. A first look at your forecast. I've been talking about those improvements in the temperatures, and it's baby steps. The temperatures are still learning how to walk before we can run and soar into the 20s for the weekend. But for tomorrow, single digits and lower teens with some lingering snow showers. We have a winter weather advisory for places like Newberry and Houghton up through Eagle Harbor. So just watch out for the snow. And as you head out the door, it feels like temperature is still sub-zero, but I'll let you know when you can expect a little bit of a warm-up.
Kelly, thank you very much. In 2024, NMU's Beaumere Heritage Center held an exhibit recognizing 60 influential women from the Upper Peninsula. Tonight, portions of that exhibit were presented at the Michigan Iron Industry History Museum in Negaunee. Our own John Truitt sat in on tonight's presentation.
Tonight, the Michigan Iron Industry Museum held a program honoring 3 of these women. First up was Bemowa Shikage, the Ojibwa wife of famous geographer Henry Schoolcraft.
And so he actually took credit for some of her work, I hate to say, and he also was responsible for selling some indigenous land out from under her and her people.
Then we learned about Verna Mize, the outspoken environmentalist who led the fight to end the dumping of taconite tailings into Lake Superior.
If it wasn't for the actions of Verna Mize in the 70s and 80s, we would have had a very different lake than we do now.
And Kathleen Weston, who was crucial in the development of the polio vaccine.
She was involved in that research for the polio vaccine, but so many women, again, didn't get the credit they deserved, as so many women in science have not. I chose them because they really highlight the incredible diversity of extraordinary women in the UP. They're from very different walks of life in different fields.
Tonight's lecture was presented by the Future Historians, a history club for young adults that explores all areas of local history.
A lot of the students really enjoy the programs. Some of them are interactive, and they get an opportunity to learn about different topics that they probably wouldn't learn about in a regular school session or a field trip or something like that.
I learned so much more information that I, wouldn't come across in school, textbooks, or all that.
Hopefully these young folks will have a new understanding about some of these UP women who made their mark on history. In Negaunee, John Truitt, WZMQ 19 News.
The city of Negaunee has approved a bond proposal to cover major system repairs to its ice arena. In May, voters will see a proposal of $1.25 million on their ballots. Across a 2-year period, the critical funding would work to fix the 40-year-old building's computer systems, failing compression unit, and dehumidifier, while providing upgrades to locker rooms and its parking lot. City Manager Nate Heffron says if passed, the project would take place during the off-season.
The building is aged and it needs some updates on it. We would be hoping to start this project sometime in late spring or early summer, finishing up right before the end of September and having that hockey season commence for the 2026-2027 hockey season.
Heffron also says if the bond doesn't pass, searching for alternative funding could lead to the potential closure of the rink until the necessary repairs are made to at least the building's compressor system.
The building could just close down until we're able to find the money to facilitate the repairs. That chilling unit with the dehumidifier are roughly coming in about over $500,000. So that's a large sum of money that we'd have to find, and it's not easy to find, or we would have found it already and we would have fixed the facility.
Voters will decide on the bond proposal on May 5th. Washington is gearing up for another funding fight, and this one could shut down part of the federal government. At the center of it all, the Department of Homeland Security and growing backlash over immigration enforcement. Recent polling shows a growing number of Americans say tactics being used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, have gone too far as protests ramp up across major cities. This week, Senate Democrats are signaling they may block the federal funding bill that includes money for DHS and ICE arguing the agency needs further reforms before receiving funding. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats will not provide the votes needed to pass the current funding measure in the Senate, which combines DHS with funding for several other agencies. Analysts say Democrats are under pressure to push back against the administration after recent events in Minnesota, and that could come in the form of a partial government shutdown if the remaining bills are not passed by the end of the week.
DHS has a lot of operations. It's a very big bureaucracy. And so if some of those things go unfunded, then you would probably have a similar situation like we had last November where people were working without paychecks. It wouldn't be as comprehensive as the last one. And because of that, it would inflict a bit less pain, which would mean it would be harder to get both sides back to the table, which means this could end up spilling out a little bit longer than most people think.
There is an effort to move Homeland Security into its own funding bill to avoid broader disruption. Doing so would leave only DHS without funding. If negotiations fail and the measure does not pass the Senate, then multiple agencies, including transportation, education, housing, health and human services, and others, could all be impacted. Federal investigators detailed a series of issues they say contributed to the deadly mid-air collision near Washington's Reagan Airport. It's been nearly a year since an Army helicopter crossed paths with a commercial jetliner attempting to land, killing all 67 people on both aircraft. Chris Van Cleve has the latest tonight.
The video of the Army Black Hawk helicopter colliding with an American Airlines regional jet almost 1 year ago is haunting.
There is no singular person to blame for this. These were systemic issues across multiple organizations.
A shocking new NTSB animation shows how difficult it was for pilots to see each other before the crash. Wearing night vision goggles, the helicopter pilots would only see what's in green. The safety board believes they never saw the airliner, and it appears the airline pilots may not have spotted the chopper until about 2 seconds before the collision. The air traffic controller at DCA reported feeling overwhelmed that night, doing 2 jobs, according to investigators, juggling up to 12 planes and helicopters at the same time. The controller did receive a conflict alert when the 2 aircraft were still 1.6 miles apart. Investigators say an urgent safety alert that they were on a collision course should have been given.
Controller should have issued a safety, would have been the most appropriate thing at that time.
But close calls were a long-standing issue. Recommendations to move the helicopter routing away from the airport after a near mid-air collision back in 2013 were rejected by the FAA.
Is the FAA falling down on safety?
Is the FAA falling down on safety? I would say that they did fall down on safety.
Board Chair Jennifer Homendy.
We should be angry because for years no one listened. This was preventable. This was 100% preventable.
Doug Lane's wife and son were among the 67 killed in the crash.
Do you feel like the FAA failed you and your family?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the FAA failed me and my family.
The NTSB is making dozens of safety recommendations, many for the FAA. The agency says safety is its top priority and points to many changes it's already made since the crash and pledges to diligently consider any new recommendations.
Kelly Rowland has your first warning weather forecast when we come back, and we'll highlight more of the agriculture program at Gladstone High School and the students that are helping feed their fellow classmates. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes.
Now, WZMQ TV 19 First Warning Weather with meteorologist Kelly Rowland.
And welcome back. We're coasting through the final days of January. We're getting close to a new month, and we're getting close to Groundhog's Day, where we'll know our fate for the rest of the winter. But as for today, 6 degrees for the high. We have been stuck in that well below average type of temperature range, but we get a lot closer to that average of 21 once we go through the week. Only a half of an inch of snow for today. So it continues to be the cold rather than the snow, especially in the wintertime. You talk about the cold, you talk about the snow. Normally it's either one of them for the extremes, but we're going to be focusing less on both of them as we're trending above average for those temperatures in the next 6 to 10 days. You'll even see it on our 7-day when we get closer to Groundhog's Day, we get at least into the 20s for the high temperatures. That's going to be a nice change, a nice relief. And yes, we still have snow in the forecast. It's still winter time, and we will be dealing with some lake effect snow bands, very isolated, very scattered for tomorrow, but it does hang around the Munising out through Newberry, Sault Ste. Marie area, and also for Ontonagon up through Eagle Harbor. This is where we have a winter weather advisory, so that does point to a possible maybe 3 to 4 pushing 5 inches of snow throughout the entirety of the winter weather advisory, which will cancel out Wednesday evening, and then some leftover flurries for Thursday. But as for specifically the Marquette area over the next 48 hours, not going to see too much snow. There may be a stray snowflake, maybe it's just the wind taking it, making it look like it does snow, but at least we're not in the scattered, probable, or likely range, and minimal snow on the way, at least for us, for the next 48 hours. But like I said before, the winter weather advisory for the Houghton area, Baraga counties, and then out through Munising and Sault Ste. Marie, this is until Wednesday at 7 p.m. So in these areas where those stubborn lake effect snow bands set up and you don't get too much movement in the winds to clear it out, that's the main focus that we're looking at for the snow. And then when we focus on the cold, there are going to be improvements, but tomorrow morning is still going to be a very cold start with those feels like temperatures around 20 below out to the Ironwood area. So places like Munising, Newberry, and for us into Marquette, even Lawrence, maybe about 5 to 10 below, but especially the southern and southwestern portions of the UP, as you know, for most of this cold surge that we've had, you're feeling the brunt of those very cold temperatures. So we're going to range anywhere from that low to moderate and the moderate to high risk of frostbite for tomorrow. It really just depends where you are. So I would prepare for the worst, just in case. I'm sure you have a routine by now. Heading out the door, you got to account for at least 5 minutes to add on all those layers and maybe drive slow if you have some snow to deal with. So it's a slow go all the way around. Might be a little tough to get out of bed. And also just remember, if you're taking your pets outside, if you're cold, they're going to be cold. Check in on someone during these cold conditions, because a lot more of that, at least for the rest of the week, continues. And then we finally hit that milestone of seeing the 20s for those temperatures for the weekend. And then we have Groundhog's Day to look forward to this upcoming Monday.
Kelly, thank you again. Gladstone High School launched a new agricultural science program this year. Students learn how to grow produce and see the results of their hard work in the cafeteria. Our Escanaba Bureau reporter Lily Simmons has the story.
They get to see not only where their food comes from, but also what careers they may be able to do within the field of agriculture. And it's something new this area doesn't have access to all the time.
These students are gaining that experience firsthand by growing lettuce.
We start out planting our seeds into a rock well. We let them germinate for 1 to 2 days and they sprout, and then we take the rock well and the seedlings and we put them into the machine. Skip one every time. The rock well goes in there and the seed grows.
5 weeks later, the lettuce is ready for harvesting, and it goes to the lunch staff to be used in school meals.
You see them right now just like working together and planning out how they're going to keep the supply in the lunchroom. So it's not just a one and done.
The program is a favorite of students like Mason Pelton, a senior who's been advocating for such a course since his freshman year.
One thing I've always been interested in is FFA, which is my long-term goal of the program. I would like to see FFA in our school. It would help out us and our community a lot because FFA does like a lot of volunteering within the community.
As the agricultural science class is a pilot program, resources are limited. So Gladstone partners with the Hannahville Indian School's aquaponics program, which utilizes fish in the fertilization process.
We help them out with like harvesting and processing that lettuce, and then they also give us lots of experience.
The experience teaches students about potential careers they may not have been exposed to in a traditional class.
Animal science, natural resources, horticulture, so even under the blanket of plant science, there's multiple avenues that students can go into.
And gives them valuable knowledge and skills they can use on the job and at home.
I have been learning how farming works and how the community helps, like how because farming is like a huge community thing.
It's pretty amazing what you can do with only a few different things. It's natural and sustainable.
I feel like it shows a different side of things rather than going to the grocery store and buying your food. You get to see exactly where it comes from.
Reporting in Gladstone, Lily Simmons, WZMQ 19 News.
The class hopes to garner support from future students and the community to help the program grow in the years to come. For details on how to get involved, visit WZMQ19.com. Mike Lutlum has another batch of sports highlights when we come back. He'll start with some high school basketball with Marquette taking on Westwood after the break.
Greetings and salutations. The Marquette boys basketball team is on its redemption tour this week. Heard that off the radio. Good evening, everyone. The Marquette boys basketball team is on its redemption tour this week. First stop for the fourth-ranked Sentinels is top-ranked Westwood. The Patriots rallied to defeat Marquette 68-64 on December 16th. Marquette started the third quarter with a 30-19 advantage. Brody Clements inside to Pavel McCutcheon. Sentinels up by 13. Ethan Marta surveys the landscape for the Patriots, passes to Jacob Riddle with momentum to the basket. He will lay it up and in. Patriots now down just 32-25. Next for the red, white, and blue, Damian Grantz to Colton Markham. Jacob Riddle over to Ethan Marta. He flips the shot in from the baseline. He paced the scores with 16. Westwood trails 32-27. But Marquette started a run of points. Ford Richardson to Brody Clements. He sank a pair of jumpers during this stretch, and Marquette went back up by 10 at 39-29. And yes, Brody is happy. Richardson behind the back, Hallen McCollum to Connor Firestein. The Carter Firestein for the bucket, 45-30 Sentinels. Marquette gets revenge, 59-35. The Sentinels visit Menominee on Friday. To the board, Jet Buckley, 20 points for Kingsford in the double-up win over Norway, 74-37. Menominee 67, Escanaba 42. Gladstone 11 better than Iron Mountain, 52-41. Levi Kinnunen 31 for Jeffers, a 10-point win over Bessemer. North Dickinson 25 better than Rapid River, 70-45. Dollar Bay doubles up +3. Ewan-Trail Creek 64-31. It was Forest Park 83, Stevenson 40. Pickford takes care of St. Ignace 72-41. Barriga 61, Lakeland and Hubble 48. Braden Larson, a game high 21. Dane Tarvis had 20 for Chaslin, the 70-42 victory over Watersmead. Lot 63, Wakefield Marinesco 48. North Central wins by 18 over Kearney NATO on Cancer Awareness Night in Kearney. Ishpeming in overtime turns back Houghton 65-59. It was Petoskey over the Sioux 70-39. Battle of Black Bears, Maplewood Baptist drops Big Bay to Knox 71-45. Superior Central over Mid-Penn 69-48. Newberry over Engadine 84-46. And Cedarville Detour, a 9-point win 49-40 over Brimley. Two girls, number 1 Negaunee hosting number 2 Gladstone. We'll pick this up in the first quarter. Addie Blowers finds Lily Johnson with a backdoor pass along the baseline for the basket and foul. Missed the free throw, 2-0 Braves. For the Maize and Blue, Gretel Johnson to Paige O'Donnell, over to Kira Waterman. Off the reasonably high glass 4-2, and we are tied at that number. Gladstone will miss a shot from the corner. That leads to Claire O'Donnell getting the rebound and going on a fast break. Whoop, that dribbles a little high, but they didn't call it. She makes the layup and the free throw, 5-2 Miners. On the other end, Lily Johnson spots Addie Blowers in the corner. Nice fake, puts that one in, but Negaunee led 6-5 after one quarter. To the second, tied at 7, Liliana Saunders. Gretel Johnson will hit this one for 3. She led all scores with 19. The Miners remain undefeated with a low-scoring 30-19 win. This is the second time the Negaunee has won with this score this season. The other was against Westwood several weeks ago. The scoreboard, yes, Kingsford gets 31 from Aubrey Moore over Norway, 51-44. Lauren Adams had 28 for the Knights. Ewan-Trail Creek easily over Dollar Bay, 51-10. Elsewhere, Jeffers, no trouble with Bessemer, 63-13. Maya Nordstrom had 20 for the Jets. Lots all over Watersmeet, 74-29. It was Forest Park 60, Bark River Harris 44. Escanaba, a 17-point win over Manistee, 52-33. And the Battle of Black Bears, it was Big Bay to Knock, dropping Maplewood Baptist 62-35, and Petoskey edges a Sioux 55-33. In high school hockey, it was Escanaba over Negaunee 7-1. In skiing today, out at Big Powderhorn, the Western UP, the Marquette boys win with Ironwood second. Then it was Norway and Houghton. Ben Kuhl of the Sentinels won both races. For the girls, Marquette again the winner. Norway, Ironwood, Houghton, and Stella DeLynn won both races for the Sentinels. The Representative Council of the Michigan High School Athletic Association has approved an expansion of personal branding activities. This is commonly known as name, image, and likeness. This will allow student athletes at MHSAA member schools, effective right now, to potentially benefit from such opportunities. The MHSAA previously allowed some PBA opportunities, including the abilities for student athletes to conduct camps, clinics, and private lessons. The expanded policy allows student athletes to capitalize on PBA through several more options. MHSAA Executive Director Mark Ewell said this is the essence of what NIL was supposed to allow in the first place, and we're confident we've crafted language that allows true NIL opportunities without affecting equity among our member schools. I'm not too sure about that. Meanwhile, college basketball. Let's go down to Ann Arbor, where the Cheeseheads and the Bananas were hoping they could get a victory over Nebraska. First half action, Jamarcus Lawrence of the Cornhuskers knocking down a 3. He had 20 points. Nebraska up 2 at the half. In the second half, Morez Johnson Jr. gets the easy dunk, but Wolverines are still down a bunch. Will Shetter will get the pass here and score on the layup, and still trailing with 5 minutes to go. But then Trey McKinney drives baseline, hard contact, makes it. Michigan hangs on to win this one by the score of 75-72. Meanwhile, MSU, 7th ranked against Rutgers. Jeremy Fears, the drive, the score, the foul. Spartans also had a rally in this contest. Divine Okchukwu with the triple with just over 10 seconds to go. Scarlet Knights had a chance to win, but Tariq Francis missed, and we go to overtime. Fear scores again, 29 points, 9 assists. MSU pulls away to win 88-79. MSU, Michigan, and Nebraska are all 9-1 in the conference. We're going to skip the next video if we can, or maybe not. The Kings and the Red Wings, we'll get through this one rather quickly. Adrian Kemp will set up Andrei Kuzmenko, and the Kings go on to win this one by the count of 3-1. After a 2-week search for a head coach, Mike McCarthy was introduced as the 4th leader of the Pittsburgh Steelers since 1969. Reporter John Leidig shares how that happened.
An emotional Mike McCarthy stepped to the podium here at Acrisure Stadium on Tuesday, prepared to lead the team he grew up cheering for. Fittingly enough, on the former owner Art Sr.'s birthday, a proud Pittsburgher, McCarthy is ready to get to work in bringing Pittsburgh back to the top of the NFL.
This city, this franchise, this fan base means the world to me because Pittsburgh's my world, and it's just awesome to be back here.
McCarthy said unlike 2019 when he had a season off, he took this year to appreciate family moments. He said, though, when the moment came to interview in Pittsburgh, he felt right at home.
I did feel very comfortable, from the moment that I was able to sit down with Art and Omar, and that's a connection I know.
McCarthy said since it was announced Saturday he was the new Steelers coach, he has received twice as many texts than he did when he won the Super Bowl in 2011.
I think the two words that jump to the front are overwhelming and surreal. The opportunity of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the overwhelming response that's occurred.
Steelers owner Art Rooney II said during the interview process the team kept an open mind regardless of background, looking to get the decision right again, and all signs pointed to one person.
I won't say it was an easy decision, but I would say at the end of the day, it was an obvious decision for us that Mike was the guy for the job.
McCarthy now ready to get to work at returning postseason success to Pittsburgh.
My heart is full. My focus is singular, and it's time to bring another championship back to this great city.
McCarthy said the immediate focus now is turning his attention to filling out his staff, a situation he said has been very fluid since he took the job on Saturday. Reporting at Acrisure Stadium for WZMQ Sports, I'm John Leidig.
And McCarthy said that, yes, he would take Aaron Rodgers back next season. We'll be right back.
And a final look at your forecasts, slowly inching through the week and slowly inching those temperatures back up to some seasonal conditions. But a winter weather advisory, yes, that is a pretty normal thing at this point, but just watch out for maybe 3 to 5 inches of snow for the Baraga, Houghton, Keweenaw, and Ontonagon County area, and also through Munising and Sault Ste. Marie throughout the entirety, basically for Wednesday. And for tomorrow, in those areas with the winter weather advisory, you're more likely to see the snow, those temperatures, single digits in the teens, but with the winds, the feels like is remaining below 0, and especially out to the Ironwood and Iron River area, you'll be at about 15 to 20 below. We'll slightly improve it throughout the day on Wednesday, but however many layers you have leaving the door, I suggest you have the same as you head on home and out any point throughout the day tomorrow. But there is improvements on the way. We do point to that trend of above average temperatures, and we will see it on our 7-day. Let's just hope Punxsutawney Phil doesn't have other plans in his books to extend the winter time, but at least for the weekend, we know when we enter February, we'll have much more comfortable the upper 20s.
Kelly, thank you again. Mike, last word to you.
Oh, a last word or two. Yes, in the NFL, the Tennessee Titans have hired former New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll as the Titans offensive coordinator, so he will join the new head coach, Robert Saleh, who, if you remember, played his college football right here at NMU. In the NBA tonight, the Pistons tried to give it away, but Denver wouldn't take it. Detroit won 109-107, and Milwaukee lost again, this time to Philadelphia, 139-122.
Mike, thank you very much. Close calls for Michigan and Michigan State today. Can't wait for that game coming up on Friday.
Good man.
Thanks very much, Mike. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.
Lilly Broadcasting stands with the people of Iran.